This is a brief grammar and translation discussion of the Diana story to help you as you prepare to read it and to explain it to me in class. So let's just kind of break it down sentence by sentence, see how far we can get. The title, of course, is Diana, and it is referring back to the part of the Galba Taberna story where Camilla, one of the three women who frequents Galba's shop, comes in with her friends and decides to purchase a statue of the goddess Diana. So we're kind of getting the sequel to that story. So here we go. Camilla filiabus rubram Dianae statuam demonstrat. So one way to start is just to kind of refamiliarize ourselves with the meanings of words to help us get a sense for what the sentence might be about. Camilla, of course, is the name of the woman. We see that she's nominative singular, so she's probably going to be the doer of the action in the sentence. Filiabus is a form. It is the dative plural form of filia, daughter, so it's daughters in the dative case. Rubram is an accusative singular form of the adjective red. Dianae is a form of the name of the goddess Diana. We see the I ending, which could be genitive or dative, we're not sure. And then statuam, with the accusative ending, and then a verb at the end, demonstrat. So the flow of thought, if we kind of follow the writer's flow of thought, we have the doer first, and then we have a sort of collection of nouns in the dative case, dative and accusative case here in the middle, and then we have the verb at the end. So we can be sure that it is Camilla who is demonstrating something. Now, what is she demonstrating? A statuam. We know that she's demonstrating the statuam because statuam, of course, is in the accusative case. So that's kind of the core of our sentence. Camilla demonstrat statuam. But what kind of statue is it? We have the adjective rubrum, red, which is also accusative singular and, as we'll learn later, feminine. It must be modifying or describing the statue. So it's a red statue. Then we've got the on I here. Could be either dative or genitive. We'll have to hold off on that and see. And then we've got filiabus. Filiabus has to be dative plural because, as Helen Chestnut explains to us above, filiabus is an exceptional form of the dative plural of philia. So that word can't be anything else. It has to be dative plural. So it's the filiabus who, well, she probably has daughters who aren't in that story. Camilla to the daughters, filiabus, the red statue, demonstrats, shows. So it seems pretty likely that Diana here is genitive, to show that it is a statue of the goddess Diana. The genitive case can often be translated with the word of, the English word of. So Camilla shows the red statue of Diana, the goddess Diana, to her daughters. Now, of course, you could just take the whole thing and go ahead and stick it into Google Translate. Do I have that open somewhere? Let's see what happens. Camilla shows the red statue of Diana to her daughters. Google Translate got it right. Um, of course you can do that. But when you read it with me, you will not have notes. I just want to hear the Latin and what you think it is. And of course, letting Google Translate do the work for you is not really helping you learn the language. It's kind of like asking someone to do your workouts for you at the gym. Doesn't really help. So I would just advise you to stay away from Google Translate unless you get really stuck. And be aware that Google Translate doesn't always get you the correct answers. Here's an example: filii, Camillae, fabulam, amant. This is where an example of where Google Translate does not get it right because it doesn't know the context of this story. This is a possible translation of this sentence, but it doesn't make sense in the context of that story, so it is incorrect. So Google Translate can sometimes help you if you really get stuck, but don't rely on it. Try to do your own work, think through the sentences for yourself. Okay. Puellae statuam spectant. You can stop at the semicolon. This is really a complete sentence, and it has the most common and typical form of Latin sentences: nominative, accusative, verb. That's the sentence pattern we most often see as kind of the core of Latin sentences. So here we have puellae. Of course, there are three possibilities for what this can be. It could be genitive singular, it could be dative singular, or it could be nominative plural. Its position at the beginning of the sentence, together with the fact that this is a plural verb, spectant, makes it super likely that this is a nominative plural, so the girls are doing the action. The girls, the puellae, are spectanting the statuam. Makes sense. Camilla brings a statue home. The girls look at it. Tum, remember tum means then. It shows something that happens kind of sequentially in a story. Tum, Camilla filiabus fabulam narrat. So then, Camilla, again, she is nominative singular, so she's the doer of the action. She narrats, tells, a fabulam, in the accusative singular, to her filiabus. So Camilla tells a story to her daughters. Now we get the story. So we have quotation marks here, and then I think also at the very end of this paragraph. So this is going to be a story about the goddess Diana. Let's see. Diana est dea silvarum et lunae. So here we have Diana, probably nominative singular, doer of the action. Est, we know. Est dea. So that's the feminine form of God. It means goddess. Diana est dea silvarum et lunae. We haven't seen these words in a while. A silva is a forest. Luna, I think this is in our vocab for the chapter, down here, I believe, means the moon. Both of these forms are genitive. Silvarum, the arum ending makes it genitive plural, and the I ending here makes it genitive singular. So we learn that Diana est the dea of the silvarum, of the forests, and of the luna, of the lunae. Et agricolae et nautae, Dianam laudant. So when we have the word et appearing twice in a sentence, et and then et separated by something, it often means both, and it's used to connect two nouns and emphasize that they're connected. So both the agricolae, the farmers, and the nautae, the sailors, Dianam laudant. They laudant Dianam. Laudant means they praise. Dianam is Diana in the accusative singular. So the farmers and the sailors here are the doers of the action of praising, and Diana, the goddess, is receiving their praise. Agricolae, Dianae coronas, saepedant, quod, dea silvas curat. So the agricolae, the farmers, nominative plural, dant, they give. So here's the verb. This is really a complete sentence here. Quod is functioning as a conjunction that joins two sentences together. So we can take a look at this sentence by itself. The agricolae, the farmers, dant, coronas, crowns. Remember crowns from the Marcella story? Dianae. So here again we have this I ending. Diana has to be singular. Can't really be nominative plural because there's only one goddess Diana. But the I ending could be either dative or genitive. Here the dative makes sense because we have dant, they give, as the verb. Usually when you have an action of giving, you have someone to whom that item is being given. So thinking back to how we talked about gift giving right after Christmas break, and you put together sentences about gifts that you gave or received. This is a good example. So we have that same pattern here. The farmers, to Diana, crowns often give. Saipe is just an adverb that means often. You could drop it out of the sentence and it would still make sense. Agricolae, Dianae, coronas, dant. The doer, the person receiving the gift that's being given in the accusative plural, and then the verb. Again, so the farmers often give crowns to Diana. And then we have quod. which is functioning as a conjunction to connect another sentence to this one. And here we can interpret it to mean because. So, why do the farmers often give crowns to Diana? Because we're going to find out. Dea silwas kurat. Here we have that pattern of nominative, accusative, verb. The goddess cares for the forests. Here we have Silwa in the accusative plural, Silwas. The goddess cares for the forests. Diana, dea lunae, nautas de lectat, quod luna nautis viam demonstrat. So here we have another quote. So a sentence and then an explanation of why. Okay, so Diana, she is nominative singular, can't be anything else with that short A. She's a doer of the action. Dea lunae, nautas de lectat. All right, so we definitely see the nominative. This is my rule number one with Latin sentences. Keep calm and look for the nominative. After I find the nominative, I usually look for a verb and see if they can go together. Here we have the verb delectat, makes happy. It is singular, so Diana can be the doer of this action. Diana is making someone happy. Whom is she making happy? Let's look for an accusative. We have an accusative right here in nautas. They are accusative plural, the sailors. So, the core of this sentence is Diana makes happy the sailors. Diana makes the sailors happy. What do we do with Dea lunae? The editor of the text helps us by setting it off with commas. We have a comma after Diana and a comma after that phrase Dea lunae, which tells us that it's kind of parenthetical. What we have here is called apposition. Dea is also nominative. Dea, goddess, is restating the doer of the action, Diana. So Diana, goddess of the moon, is just restating who Diana is. So Diana, goddess of the moon, makes the sailors happy. Why does she make them happy? Quod luna nautis viam demonstrat. Because the luna, the moon, here the moon is nominative, singular, going to be the doer of the action. The moon demonstrat, the viam, accusative, the way, nautis. Nautis here is dative plural. We can look up at our little clue here. The is ending is dative plural. So it's the moon that demonstrats the viam to the nautis. Kind of think through that. What does the moon do for sailors when they're out on the open water at night? Again, via is a new vocab word for street, road, or way. Out on the open water, where sailors would be, way is probably the best translation there, or best idea, best meaning of via. Okay, it's a que, which means and so, or therefore. Nautai, the sailors, quoque dei coronas dant. So the nautai also dance to the dea, to the goddess, coronas. Quoque means also. All right, good. So this is the story that the little explanation that Camilla is giving to her daughters of who the goddess Diana is after she brought this statue home. So then we find out how the daughters react. Filiae, Camillae, fabulam, amant. Amant. So here we see that amant is plural. We can tell because of the nt. So the doer of the action in this sentence has to be a nominative plural if it's stated. So we can infer that filiae must be nominative plural, the doer of the action, doers of the action. The daughters, amant, they love. The fabulam, Camillae. So here we could take Camillae as genitive singular, showing possession, showing that it's Camilla's story that the daughters love. Quod luna et silvae filias delectant, puellae deam laudant et statuam dei ornant. Oh, so here we see what the daughters do with the statue that Camilla has brought home. Here we get the quod at the beginning of the sentence, which is different from how we had it up here. It came in the middle. But here we have quod because The luna et the sylvae, the moon and the forests, nominative case, filias delectant, because the moon and the forests make the daughters happy. The puellae, the girls, deam laudant, praise the goddess, et, and, statuam dei ornant, they decorate the statue.